The best tool to use on a Ford right here, right next to a hammer. We are here with the proud Camaro owner's gorgeous 68 Camaro. We got a new set of vice grips we're gonna put on the brake lines because we're gonna do rear brakes on this thing. It already has rear disc brakes on it, but it doesn't have a parking brake. So we're gonna have to change the rear brakes to a different style because these are a factory Ford. Can't believe I said that and Camaro in the same sentence. We're all gonna die! These are a factory Ford rear disc brakes, and they took the lever off of it and the brackets for the parking brake, so it's easier to source out a whole brake kit than it is to deal with the factory Ford nonsense. So we have the luxury of working on a lift today, so we are going to lift up the car, give you a nice bird's eye view. So let's go over and lift it up, get started. This is our factory Ford setup. You can see here we got our Ford little casting. I just want to mention that this is a Ford 9-inch in here. That's why we have a factory Ford setup on here on brakes, on the calipers and everything. Got my Ford tool. So I got the locking little pin out here for the caliper. Got the bolt out, take the caliper off. We're gonna set it on this leaf spring here. I know how these brake lines are very delicate. You can't take any stress. See how this bracket is a fixed casting. It goes around the whole axle. We gotta get this whole bracket out of the way. So we're gonna pull the axle here to get all this stock apparatus off of here, this bracketry. Somebody, when they installed this, I don't know, this is the way the car came, but they don't have the lever on here or the bracket for the parking brake cable to go to for the parking brakes. I wasn't able to source this by themselves. Everyone wanted to get a whole caliper with the bracket, so we just decided to do the whole entire new brake setup, which is a lot cleaner than all this stuff anyways. So this is Ford's claim to fame here, is there's no C-clip. So this is all pressed on. There's a little locking ring here, and the axle bearing is pressed onto the axle. And then this little retainer, in this case, is the bracket for the caliper, is what holds the axle into the housing. So if your axle breaks anywhere in here, the axle won't come outside of the car. That's the big thing on Ford 9-inches. Even though you can see how adorable this little axle is, I guess that, whatever. Anyways, this retainer is what holds this axle into the housing. So this is the bracket, the new bracket that comes with the brakes is what, this is gonna retain the axle. You can see how it catches. Well, it's kind of hard to lay it flat because the other one's in the way, but it retains it. So this is a new retainer plate. This is what's gonna hold the axle in here. And you can see it comes up here and this bolts to the housing like so, and that's what's gonna hold the axle in. In a nutshell, we need to eliminate this. Right at the moment of where we're at, we don't have the capability of pressing this lock plate off and bearing. And normally when you do that anyways, it damages the bearing and the plate. So we're gonna cut this off of here. I know the Ford community is gonna have a hard time right now, but we're cutting this off, throwing it in the trash. So this is what we're gonna be installing on the 68 Camaro here, all pretty much because of this. The lever for the parking brake and the parking brake bracket right here. This is what was missing on the factory Ford stuff, and the proud Camaro owner,
hey, you can't curse in this video,
decided to, he wanted to just do a whole new enchilada. So that's what we got. We got two calipers. We got our new brackets for the calipers, super famous missing parking brake cables. We got the new flex lines, and then this has brackets for the flex lines that we're gonna have to weld onto the housing. And for some reason, somebody miscounted because we got 3 of the clips for the brake lines. So we have a bonus on that. Okay. And just to give you a little comparison, this is the rotors that are going on it now, and then this is the rotor that was on it. So they are a hair bigger, so it has a little bit more stopping fury. Both pistons are a single piston, so nothing crazy there.
was all of this worth it for a parking brake?
Dude, you have to ask the proud Camaro owner. I don't even know what parking brakes are. I just put it in park. We have our axle here on our safe cutting surface. We got some water so we don't melt the world. And we're gonna try to strategically cut that bracket off of there so we don't damage anything. So I'm gonna try to cut, away from it so it blows the slag away. In theory, that's what we're gonna do. Let's try it. We didn't make it very far. We're at a settling. Hold that thought, we'll be back. I have gas. Best tool to use on a Ford right here, right next to a hammer. Let's try this out.
Holy crap.
Yeah, real Ford. I don't think this is the way you're supposed to do this. Put that in the water, let it cool off a little bit. I think we're okay. Let's get a rag here, wipe it up. We got the axle all wiped up. It turned out okay, torching it didn't bother anything. So I put a little bit of silicone in here. Just it has a seal. In theory, supposed to catch all of the gear oil, but some always leaks past it. So we got a little bit of silicone in here to seal around the outer of the bearing. And then the bearing itself has some seals, so hopefully we'll take care of any leaks. So we can put our axle back in now, our cute little 28 spliner. So now I have the axle in here, all siliconed. The instructions don't talk about these. They show them, they don't talk about them. So I'm assuming they're gonna go on here first, because if you just put this on there, there's quite the gap and it'll just try to bend it. So this is like a shim, what I'm guessing. So I'm gonna put this on here first.
Why do they do that on instructions? They have something in the kit and they don't ever talk about it.
I don't know. Figure it out, will you? That's what they think. And they want the caliper to go to the front. So these are the caliper brackets. So I'm gonna put this on here like so. And then you see if this is all tight, it has a little bit of space still that is gonna pull this over, but it won't have to pull it 1/4 of an inch. That's what I'm assuming, per non-specifying instructions. Oh, hello there. Proud Camaro owner showing his boogers. What do you think there, Proud Camaro owner?
It's a beautiful thing.
Because it's a 4 9-inch, because it's in a Camaro.
Because hopefully someday it'll run.
This has got nothing to do with running.
Stopping?
This is stopping. I got the bracket put on here. I got it all torqued down.
Torque down?
It's very torqued. Double clicked with my 3/8 ratchet. And it definitely looks like that's where that shim goes because it turned out really nice. So now we got our little setup here on our caliper bracket that goes on, and there's different shims to move this, different configurations. So we're gonna try this one out here. We kind of mocked it up. So we can put our bolts in here, so our spacer, and then we're gonna put our caliper bracket on the back side because our rotor is gonna go on. Then we have our flat washer. We have our nuts, which is a locking nut, so it only goes on one way, or else you won't be able to get it started. Oh, great. I'm surprised I didn't blow up right there. That brake line just self-destructed itself. Got everything all torqued, all the brackets on. Looks kind of cool. So the rotors are double drilled. So we have Ford Chevy. So this is kind of funny because the wheels are a Chevy pattern. So the Proud Camaro owner has these adapter plates. I guess he had to shim it out a little bit. So these go on Ford pattern, and then you can bolt in a Chevy wheel. So we're gonna put these on here to hold the rotor in place because you see it tries to fall off. Now our rotor is held in place. If you never dealt with these before, they're kind of a pain in the butt. You can see how they have all these little notches for this pin. This is a little tidbit. So when you put these on, so say you put the pad in here, you see the piston is all the way in, right? So you put your pad on there. So if you put it on here, we'll put it up here just so I can show you. You see how there's slop, right? So normally you push on the brake pedal and it would push the piston out to take that slop up. So you won't have to worry about all this slop in here. But the way these pads are designed, or this caliper is designed, that you have to take this piston and you have to unscrew it. You have to turn it to take that slop out to get it as snug as you possibly can without having to cram the rotor on there and the brakes be dragging. So we're gonna rotate it here and take that slop out. So we put it on here, you don't have a squishy pedal. So I got it adjusted off camera. And then I'm not fond of these calipers. They're a real pain in the butt in my opinion. I guess if you do them often enough, probably get better at it, but you see that I have them adjusted snugly. So the parking brake lever is all the way back against the stop like it's supposed to be. You can see that they're not dragging. They go on, you know, they have the normal amount of preload, you could say. And you can see if the parking brake is applied. So this is a parking brake lever. This is me applying it. It goes that far and that they're applied. So that's how much slop is in there. That's more of the story. So now we're gonna put it on. Make sure we don't lose everything because we have a spring that goes on the inside here that holds the pad. You gotta have like 20 hands to deal with these things. We're gonna take this up. A little reminder, the bleeder goes to the top, brake line goes to the bottom. So this guy's gonna slide on here now. It's gotta go on evenly. Okay, got the caliper all tightened up here. I already got my brake line. It's just loose, but I got it up here. They have the old setup here. They're using the U-bolt on a bracket and it's not gonna work because the bracket has the flexi part. The bracket has this, where the hard line screws into on the bracket on the U-bolt, and I can't use it with this. So the kit came with a bracket here that I'm going to clean off a spot on the housing, and I'm going to, in a sense, pretty much put this here, put the brake line into it, and then we're going to finagle this hard line, which isn't the most dazzling, kind of doctored up. I'm hoping not to have to cut it and flare it and move it around. I'm hoping I can just bring it over and put it in here. Got the passenger side all finished up. Off camera, obviously. You didn't see it. It was a surprise.
Really?
It's a surprise.
You must be
Stupid.
Got parking brakes in here, all hooked up, factory brackets. Got the hard lines massaged over. More than likely, we're gonna have to change those down the road. We're gonna bleed it now. We're gonna lower the car down.
We rated out of 10.
We're gonna bleed it. I'll give it a strong, we'll give it a 9. Turned out really good. Nice setup. Way better, way cleaner than the Ford stuff that was on here. Tell the in-laws hi. Proud Camaro owners on the move. We still need to do a couple more. We can't be having this rattle on the exhaust. It's not 100% done. We're almost there. So we just finished up bleeding the brakes. Topped off both reservoirs here. Locking down. That's pretty much it. I would take you for a spin, but the fuel pump went bad in this fine jewel, so they're in the middle of changing the fuel pump, and the one that they got, they don't like, so they ordered another one. So more of the story is you can't go for a ride. Go down, like, share, subscribe, come on back, check out the next video. See you next time.